this is B and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll talk about how I've been using the Midori Hibino as my center life book or planner. Before we get into the details of what's inside, here's a quick overview. So the Midori Hibino comes in two colors. This is the camel, and then the other color is blue-green. That's how it looks like from the side and then the back. This is a 2-page per day, hence the thickness. And the paper that is used is the Old Tomoe River paper. For 2024, I believe it's the Suns and One. Now, this Hibino comes with a booklet which tells you how to use, and I just Google Translate so you can see, and it has a visual sample on how it's being used. Now for the cover, this cover is a little similar to the 5-year Hobonichi. This is an A5 size, and I say that because this one is a little bit smooth, and then the inside looks like this. For the Hibino, it's also like that. However, this is a bit textured, and then the inside looks like that. So they are similar. Although you don't need to use a cover, I do use one for this. And the cover that I use is from Hobonichi. This is the Mina Perhonen Ohio Gray. This is actually meant for a 5-year, but because of the thickness of the Hibino, I got it. And this is how it looks like from the inside. So you can see that it already has patina. And then you also have bookmarks. There's 2. You can see that I just tied a knot because it just keeps fraying. I tried to use like a lighter, but it just gets off, so I just tie it like that. So for the inside of the Hibino, this is what you see for the front page. And then it is followed by a calendar, 2023 and then 2024. Next is you've got the future log, that's for January to December. And then it is followed by the monthly section. And then after the monthly section, you've got the daily pages. So I mentioned earlier it's 2-page per day. So both sides occupy just 1 day. And then as you can see for the daily pages, you can see the details of the month, the day, the date, and then you also have like the moon phase, and then this side is like the timeline. It starts and ends in 4, and it uses military time. And then this portion right here, you see the weather. You've got sunny, cloudy, rainy, thunderstorm, and then the only thing that I do not use because there's no winter here in Malaysia is like snow. For the grid, it is 2.5 millimeters, and then you can see that there is a bit of a darker line in this one, which you can either use or ignore. And then there's also like that line thing, which you can do the same, use or ignore. And then for the other side, you've got like a small calendar in here, and then it highlights like which day it is. And then you also have this one that says 356/365. What that means is that December 22 is the 356 out of 365 days of the year. And then there is like that small dots. So there's actually 6 of them. So 3 at the top, and then there's 3 on the side. And it's up to you whether you want to use or ignore. So the way I've been using this, I mentioned at the beginning, is that this is my center life book or Bujo planner. So if you watch my Techo Kaigi video, the beginning of the year for 2023, I also have other dated life books. And to actually better explain it, I did like a Lifebook Mapping of it. So that's how it looks like. So in visual, that's how it is. So everything is centered to this Midori Hibino. Now for how I utilize this, going back to the beginning of the page, this 2 ones, I just use it as reference in terms of the dates, but I don't necessarily highlight anything or circle or whatever. And then for the future log, from the name itself, future log, so any dated appointments or anything like that are placed in here, or anything that someday maybe could be placed in different month, and then I just allocate whichever month it'll be applied to. So if you are familiar with the bullet journal method, that's how I'm using it. Now when it comes to the monthly, because it looks like this, the blank one, I use it for events or anything that I want to recall for the day. However, once I flip it through, it actually looks like this. I haven't really shared it publicly on Instagram, because usually that's where I share things apart from YouTube. And this is how my monthly looks like. So as you can see, there is a bit of a reaction with the stamp that I'm using. And then in this case, this one is actually the Shachihata ink pad. And then this one is another color from the same brand. And then what you see here is that just events or any appointments or anything I want to remember. And then I also took note of like what pen I use. And in this case, the reaction happened between the ink pad and as well as the Uni Jetstream. And this one is 0.5. So you see that there's a reaction to it. So I'm not sure if it's gonna do the same thing with the 2024, but just to let you know, this is how it looks like. This only happened after a few months. So January looks like this. And I kind of noticed that for the Shachihata ink pad, if it's a ballpoint, it reacts and it gives you that blue color. And then if it is a fountain pen like this, it's a little bit pink. So it's not this one, it's, I don't know if you can see that, because I use a fountain pen. I was trying to finish the Lamy Azurite, which I've already finished. And then if you look from the back, it's a little bit pink. So for ballpoint, it reacts as blue. If it's fountain pen inks, it reacts as pink. So this one is still Shachihata. Same goes in this side. And this one is this color. So you can see the reaction. And then I switched the inks, the ink pad, I mean, on May. And this time I was already switching this one. So this is from Soramami, either of the two. But this is how it looks like. So it's this particular color, just to see if there's any reaction. And today is October. No reaction still from May, because for the previous months, like this ones, it was, I think, the month of June or July where I saw this type of reaction. Like for the first 1 to 3, maybe 4 months, I didn't see this. And then after then, that's when this thing started happening. So just so you know, take note of it. So May looks like that. And then you've got June. This is a self-inking stamp from Eric Small Things. No reaction to this whatsoever, so it's fine. And then this is using the gray one, still from Soramame. And then this is all print. This is just writing whatever was the preview for the Hobonichi. And the pen I used here is the Uniball 1P. So here, even though there is a stamp on that side, no reaction. So this particular pen is fine, but for the Uni Jetstream, for some reason it does a reaction because it's a ballpoint. So for September, I'm still using the self-inking, still fine. And then for October, it's a little bit of a change, and this one is using the Hobonichi Deco Rush. And yep, so no reaction to it as well. So that's the monthly. Now for the daily, this is where you're gonna see that pink reaction, because I mostly use fountain pens. So this is how January looks like, and the way I utilize it before I flip on the pages is on this blank daily page. I utilize the timeline a lot. I didn't really utilize that previously when I was using the Hobonichi, because they do have their version of timeline. But for this one, I'm using the timeline. I also use the weather. And then for this line here at the top, sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. And then for this line right here, sometimes I will acknowledge that solid line as a guide, or sometimes just ignore it. And then for the other page, this is a bit of a free form. And even though I have those like dots on the side, I don't necessarily use them. I do utilize the day of like which date out of 365 days it is, because as I mentioned, this is like a center, so it works in conjunction. Like for example, like in this one, on my Hobonichi wicks at the back of it, like there's this one by 100, so I utilize that one. And then for this side, when I mention free form, it's either I create paragraphs, use stamps, or just whatever. So just so before we flip onto the pages. So for the first page, it looks like this. So I kind of ignored the timeline, and as you can see, like in this part, there's that reaction to the fountain pen ink, so it's a little bit pinkish and looks like that. So I did like a reflection for what happened from the previous year, and I write my thoughts about it. And then here it's a little bit obvious in terms of the stamp reaction that I was referring to. So do take note of that reaction, because for this Hibino, I only use rubber stamps and then on occasion the Deco Rush, but that's about it. I don't use stickers or anything because it's already thick enough. And that's how it looks like. In this case, I ignored that solid line and then just went paragraph format with a bit of a task. And then this one, this is how you would typically see me use the Hibino. So I do the tracking for the sleep and then when I work. And for the pens that I use for the sleep, I use this one. So this is from Pilot, ILM-ILY. So when you try to like shade, it does like that thing. So if you can see, so there's like a bit of a shading for it. So that's what I use to track the sleep. And then on this side to track for work, this is it's like it came with the paintable stamp. So this is in purple. So the other end is pointed, which I use to color for the weather. And then for the other side, it's brush tip. So that's what I use in this part. So from this side, you see that there's like task list, a bit of a paragraph format, and then same goes to the other side. And then next, this is an example where I was overwhelmed for that particular day. And yeah, it's a Monday, so sometimes you encounter that. And what I end up doing for this page is just doing samples of the stamps that I have. So in this side, this is from Raw Market, and then this one is from Kurokinki. And from here you can see that on both sides there's a bit of a reaction of that Shachihata ink pad. So do take note if you do use that one for your 2024 planners, just to let you know. And then next, there's a bit of a sampling once again, and then some notes, and then that timeline, and then as well as for the weather. Then next page, this one is using a ballpoint. So I actually use this part right here, and then this side is like wish list thoughts, and then here is actually listed like the Grammy winners, and then whatever happened for that day. Instead of writing like bullet points like I used to, I utilize the timeline for it, because usually sometimes that if things get busy or if I'm doing something else, usually I utilize the timeline as some sort of a like a guide for me. And then later on, if I want to expound that, I would usually like use bullet points. If not, then I can just use it for something else. Then here one is a short usage of the space from this side, and then here I just wrote, this is actually from an episode from the Pen Addict podcast, and then I just wrote some thoughts about it, and then you can still see I utilized the timeline. And then here, similar thing, so there's few tasks, the timeline, then same one. This is the still the Uniball 1P, the chunky one. So next, this is a little bit different. So instead of you saw previously like I swatch rubber stamps, this one I was swatching color pencils, and then you still see similar pattern, graph, tasks. And then this, I use a friction. So I have a friction pen that has the colors black, blue, red, and then green, and then I just utilize on this one. So there isn't really much happening for this day, and as you can see, I was taking notes about annotation, and then the timeline kind of pretty much explains what happened for that day. And then next page looks like this. So the sleep and then the work schedule. So I work in a different time zone, and I'm based here in Malaysia, so you can see like there's like a bit of a crossover when it comes to the schedules. And then it's just paragraph format, and then because I have the stamps, I kind of just highlighted what the visuals are showing. And then for the next one, so this is a little bit different. I believe I've shared this on my Instagram, these pages. So this one up to I think up to here, because during these dates I was away on vacation and I didn't bring this with me. So usually what happens when I come back, I get over to the other life books that I didn't use, and then to make use of the blank pages, what I have here is some sort of like, you know, like a review, like a Google review or TripAdvisor, instead of that, but it's in analog format. So in this date, it was the overall experience when we went to Club Med, so it has like their schedules and everything. And then the following page, I talk about the food, And then this stamp is Eric, and then this one I believe is Kiatior, that's the name. And this has no reaction, as you can see on both sides, because the pen I use is the Uniball one. And then this one is this ink pad. So this one is about the food, because they have different restaurants in Club Med. And then the following page, I usually put the title of what I talk about in here. And then for the next page, it's about journaling during travel. So it's in paragraph format. And then next is travel, journey, and music. So there you can now see there's that reaction thing, because for the next page it was already using a Uniball ballpoint. And this one, we were just listening to the radio, so the station is Light 105.7. My husband listens to that. And then just the overall journey of it. And then next is still with the timeline, and then this is how I would usually do it. So I won't utilize the space, like in this section are just for task list, and then anything that I want to write down. So referring back to the bullet journal method, it's all in bullet points of whatever it is, and then things gets expounded either in my vertical weekly, on my 5-year for the memory keeping side, any of that stuff. And then on this side, this one is using a Midori paintable stamp. It's actually this, and this one works really well on the Hibino. This doesn't work that much on the Hobonichi, just so you know, because there's no show through, bleed through, that's how you call it. And then here, this one's a little bit different. So I still got the timeline. However, since there aren't any tasks, it's a Sunday, I went straight to all bullet format, and then I just kind of adjusted my writing because of the stamps. And then here I use the friction pen, so the blue one, and then same thing, the task, bullets, and then some sort of paragraph format. And this one is like my attempt to do like stamp collage, because this one's from Black Milk Project, I believe, and then these two are from Kurokinki. And then same thing in here, same format. So still the same thing. And then here, I just continued what I have in this side, and then proceeded with the bullet record. And then on this side, this one's a little bit different, because you can see that there aren't any really like task lists. So usually the Sunday ones are kind of different, but then once I go back to work, that's when you see the flow of things, where you've got the task list, bullet points, and then whatever. And then in this case, I actually did this because we watched the movie of Guardians of Galaxy Volume 3, and I really liked the music, so I actually listed them all for the songs of the soundtrack, and then from there search through Apple Music and then put it on my playlist. And then next, similar to what you've seen previously, so there's that bit of a like that reaction part that I was referring to, and bullet points, and then kind of adjust based on the stamp. And then here, this is the one that's much more obvious, where kind of it hasn't changed yet. So this is for the month of May, because I did say previously that it takes a little bit of time. It actually started like this, eventually this one will change into like pink. I don't know how, but that's how I noticed the pattern for this one. And then if you noticed, I used to put some details on the things that I do while I was working, and then eventually I just slash or highlight like the hours of the work, and then I just indicate work, and then everything else, and then I just put on the bullet points. And then this one, you see some smudging because sometimes when I'm anxious or excited or anything like that, I tend to have like sweaty hands. So sometimes when I kind of like gloss over, that happens, which is fine. And then on the other side, this one is, I believe, using like a ballpoint, and it's like a research. If you've seen my video about the TSL all leather bag, this was just like my notes about it, because I was trying to determine the sizes, because it's a little bit confusing from its naming conventions. And then this one, all friction pen. This was fun. This is, I took notes of Team Yoseka's 2023 mid-year planner. I took notes because I want to see if there's something that any of the staff that have shared that may be applicable to me. So this was a good one. And then this one is Bujo Ritual. Ryder Carol did one on YouTube, so I just took notes of it. And then next we go to my typical format. So this is how it actually looks like. Then this one, there's a bit of a change in terms of the ink pad that I'm using. So I've switched to the Soramami one just to see, and this one's dated July. So far, no reaction to anything yet, but I believe based on the ones that I've experienced so far, I would recommend maybe using either the Soramami one or the other brand from Versa Craft, chalk ink, because usually chalk ink is recommended by users for the Hobonichi. Maybe you can try that one in here, but for the Shachihata, I would caution you. Then next, same thing in here, using different ink pad. This one's fountain pen ink, Mont Blanc Psychedelic Purple. Then just took notes on the Starbucks Reserve Roastery Tokyo, because I was listing like what are the things that I like, because they came out with the sticker, the collaboration one, the latest. So I think that was the one. Yeah, that's the one, and I already have that. And then here, a swatch of the Uniball pen. It's actually like a 6 color, but I only bought 3. And then stamp, paragraph, you know. And then here, if I don't have a task, sometimes like stamp works. And then I just highlight what happened for that day. This one is Black Milk Project, and then this one is Elsie with Love. And then this I believe is already using the Caran d'Ache pen, which is this one. So far this one's okay versus the ballpoint from the Uniball one for some reason. And then this is using Pilot Juice, so okay as well. So this one's all bullet format. And then because I purchased the Pilot Juice, it actually has the lighter colors, like for example, like this one. So usually if I want to write or journal something that I don't want to read again, even if I'm like flipping pages over, I use lighter color for it, so that if I want to read the entry, I would have to like look really closely. So that's a tip for you. So this is like an example of that. So here it's just bullet paragraph format. And then this one, just a bunch of task lists, because this is the part where I believe that let me see, yeah, I was traveling. This was like going to Singapore. So I had like my task list and then some points, and then same thing. Let's see, up to which page? Yeah, I think up to this one. So this many pages, this was not with me. I am not sure if I have this shared, but same concept that I have applied. So this is like for the travel time to Singapore. And then this one was when we visited a branch of Anytime Fitness, and then cafe. And this one where we meet up some of our friends, and then just all in paragraph format. And then in here I actually listed like the stationery shops that I've already visited in Singapore. And then here I put like a highlight, and that highlight was unexpectedly finding a fountain pen from Nagasawa. That pen is this one. So I actually found it in the store named Think. It's located in Funan, and I wasn't expecting it. So that was like the highlight in terms of like the stationery find that I experienced. And then next one would be talking about like food, and then the rest of what happened for that day. And then it just went back to how it is. So yeah, I think that's all of the flip through that I can share with you. And if you have any questions or clarifications, just comment down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.